Testing the mic. Perfect. Let me take this out. And we are already live. Perfect. Very well. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, LVE tribe, as well as everyone else accompanying us on this rather precious, radiant, and pointing to be a very heated day of Shabbat from California, the United States of North America. We are in the midst of summer. Today is the 14th day of Tammuz, full moon. I got up really early and I saw the moon yellow. It really seemed to be actual cheese, like that cheese that is given to us by Saeed. Spectacular cheese. As the moon was going down, it was full of the year 5993 from creation, corresponding to the 20th of July of the year 2024. And we are two months away, according to the other Christian, the Uruguayan, so that the rapture can come. No, I mean, nothing to do with us. Absolutely nothing to do. Those 2 months will pass, and we'll still be here, and we'll see when things will change, because nobody is going to leave here. So then we'll have Christian, the Uruguayan, and all his followers, not knowing what is going on, what takes place. But we'll all be here. So then we are all July 20th, and we shall study yet another chapter of Wisdom and Discipline, part 26. Can we change the Apocalypse, part 9? Rather, it is a precious day today, heated, and we shall see what is it that Yahweh has written for us so that we can unentangle it, this whole entire roll that is tangled up in this whole cover on the scriptures. Without any further ado, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this so precious day of Shabbat. We give you thanks because you open our eyes to see things which everyone else, even if they want to, they cannot see. We give you thanks because we can understand that you are only one being, and that as that only one being, you created human beings that they live this experience, that they have this experience throughout all eternity. And everyone, absolutely everyone, shall be redeemed, justified, and also shall learn of how they should all act. All this I thank you for in your precious name, Yahweh Sebaot. Alleluia. Yahweh has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth. They're very few: Mari Calvo Gonzalez, Spain; Alexa Ocampo, Nicaragua; and Maritza Ovalles Sanchez, Spain. To each and every one of you three, a great big hug on our behalf. Many blessings from Yahweh. And also, may you have a very happy birthday, that you had a happy birthday during this week. We send you a great big hug. May it be the last one under this system. We'll see about that, because we have still almost 8 years left, 7 years left, and some for the 6,000 years to be up. And taking into account if our calendar is precise, which is the most precise that we can have, because as precision, this even Yahweh hid that from us too. But it is the best calculation. We would need 7 more years, but Yahweh promised that the times would be shortened and many things would start to happen. And if the Shabbat is the way we keep the Shabbat, like we learn to keep the Shabbat, then we start to take the Shabbat sometime before the sun goes down. So then we understand the same thing that Yahweh will do. It's not that he'll end in the very last minute available, but we are already in the time. We're already in the time. How long will it last? We don't know, but we are enjoying it, and we're waiting. Last greeting, out of all those that I've been greeting lastly, I didn't want to give this list really, but nobody has ever written back to us, which means that out of all that I've mentioned, they don't watch the subjects, or they don't even care at all. So then we'll continue to mention people to see if they still listen to us, and if not, we send you a very nice greeting as one last greeting. But if you do get in touch with us, we'll add you back on the list. Eduardo David, Brazil. Gladys Gonzalez, Venezuela. These two persons, we send them a very nice last birthday greeting. And if they still listen to us, you can write to us today and say, no, we do listen to you. Don't take us out of the list, and we'll add you back into the list. Very well. The world cannot escape the book of the Apocalypse. That phrase said by this pastor really hit home with me, because what we're presenting and studying and untangling, that the apocalypse is not what all of Christianity believes, and not just Christianity, because the apocalypse does not belong to any other religion, not the Jewish religion, not the Muslim religion, of course, no other branch. Only Christianity reads the apocalypse. The others can read it, but they don't respect it. What I'm referring to is that the Christians have that book as an inspired book, a sacred book. And so then, if they read it with Christian eyes, this world will be absolutely broken, destroyed, ruined, with all the members which are still alive of the human race, in its great majority, will be marked and tortured, and then afterwards killed. That is as simple as that, as the book of the Apocalypse says. The only way of escaping is the way Mr. Christian, the Uruguayan guy, says, that they will be raptured. That's the only escape that they could even foresee, because the last thing they want is to suffer the consequences that they believe that the book of the Apocalypse says. Very well. I'd like to remind you that we've got a free consult call. Angelina is in charge of it. In case you're going through some sort of conflict, we can orient you through the mystery that Angelina does for the eternal truth in a free manner. The information is had in the description of this video and all the other videos of how to get in touch with her. It is simple. It is her Facebook, and her Facebook timeline is in the description of this video. You write to her and she'll make a consult call to try to understand you and to try to help you to understand yourself what is going on with us. Very well. Well, we still need, these are the last days of our age of 54 years, both Leslie's and mine. We're enjoying our last days of 54 in 2 weeks, in 2 Shabbats, precisely August 3rd, the Shabbat, and the 2nd of August, the Shabbat for Leslie. We're going to be on our 55th birthday. I still cannot believe that, because we still feel like 18, 20 years old. Absolutely. So then, time goes on, and we're still in this life, in this hope. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh is one alone. This is the fundamental base. If somebody wants to understand something of the scriptures, even the very least of the scriptures. it must be understood, this definition of eternal truth. Yahweh, our Creator, Yahweh, is one. That is why he says, "Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our God, Yahweh, is one alone." It's not a binome, a Father and a Son. It is not a trinome, a Trinity, a Father and a Son, and an entity called the Holy Spirit that does not exist. Once we understand that, we stop waiting for, you have to understand many more things, but there comes a point in which you no longer wait for the Son of God, the Christ, who died 2,000 years ago, because that Christ will not return. That Christ came once and left, because he was not the Christ actually, he was Yahweh. Covered in a human form, covered with titles, but all those titles, aside from the point, he was not any of those titles. He was not the Son of God, he was God. He was not the Messiah, he was the one that anoints the Messiah. He was not the Son of Man in the sense, the absolute sense of the word, but rather he was directly Elohim, covered with the human nature. In some aspect, we could understand as an existing being, he begat himself in the human race and was born as the Son of Man, but he was, continued to be, and will continue to be Elohim before man. And he said it very well, before Abraham was, I am. The flesh that he received that no longer exists, that visible human nature that covered him that no longer exists, it's what the Son of Mary was. But he, by saying, before Abraham was, I am, means clearly that before Mary was, he was. And if he was before his mom, then actually it's not his mom. It is very clear. Just in case, I give it to you at that level of understanding, an easy level of understanding. All that comes from understanding Shemah Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ekhad. Proverbs 8:31-32, then Yeshua said unto the Jews that had believed on him, if ye would remain in my word, then ye shall truly be my disciples, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And why does it say the Jews, if just anybody that believes on him? Because here is the order of all things. My mom taught me, and wrongly so, but I like this phrase in some sense of the word, not in everyone, that the order is the first rule of heaven. And so as to try to teach me to be, when I was a child, to be an orderly child. When I talk about order, it's not just cleanliness. No, the order in doing things, the order that it takes to build something, the order that it takes to design something and take it to reality. That's the order. And the order of hierarchy is absolutely undeniable and cannot be avoided or dodged. Why does Yeshua say, then Yeshua said, who was Yahweh, in human flesh, unto the Jews that had believed on him? Because the Jews, the entire religion that we practice, the religion of the scriptures, was given unto the Jews. We can never take the Jews out from the map, because from them is the book. They are the writers of the book, of the Bible. They are the writers thereof. Unto them was given all the things of this Bible. Not just that, but the laws, which no longer exist, but it was given unto them. Yahweh got in touch with them, telling them that they were the chosen people, not because they're better or anything. He says so, but it's the one I chose, because I have to choose somebody, the one that I chose to write this book. And Yahweh said the salvation comes from the Jews, and it is very clear that is the order of hierarchy. So then the Christians, something that we still also are not, but we ascend to those names. The Christians have not some, but all, their roots in Judaism. Because Judaism is the base, it is the root. Yahweh, when he made himself man, he made himself a Jewish man. Being able to have become a man from any other race from the world, he made himself Jewish. And not just that, but he told the others, look, salvation comes from us, from the Jews. There will come a time in which not in this mount nor in that mount will you truly worship God, because God looks for a different type of worshipers, true worshipers. But keep in mind that the base is Jewish. That is why Yahweh in a human form, he tells the disciples, look, unto the Jews that had believed on him. They had already advanced a little bit, because they're all steps. It's all steps. If we were to meet Adam and Eve, let me go a little before that. If we were to meet with Jacob, who is the father, the immediate father of Israel, that had the 12 sons, and out of there he bears the name of Israel, because he told Jacob, your name shall not be Jacob, but Israel. It would have nothing to teach us, just like that, absolutely nothing. He could tell us stories, he could tell us his life, anecdotes, all that, it's fine. But to teach us, zero, nothing, absolutely nothing. If we were a little bit even backwards before that, to Isaac, to Abraham, he would have nothing to teach us, even less Abraham. Abraham didn't know anything about anything, because not even what we know existed, and also we have said this, it is no longer valid, even though we always learn from them the Torah did not exist. And if we go even before Abraham, we go to the sons of Noah, nothing. If we go to Noah, well, from Noah, we could learn, and I didn't even know what for, because now it's a little bit, it's a lot better, how to make wine, because Noah planted a vineyard, made himself wine. I'm sure it was worse quality. Don't think that he was the best one in the world. No, I've tried wines in Mendoza from people that make them not professionally, yes, professionally, but not commercially. Wow. With my uncle, we've gone down to some type of, not subterranean, but it is in their cold rooms below their houses, very much like California. And we've gone down to some basements that are filled with different types of wines, white, pink, red wine, different classes, different stages of the wines. And he would make us to try it. It would say, this is from this year. I mean, wow, what a delicious thing. Since I was little, I'd go with my uncle, who was not an Adventist. He would take me there and would make me try out the wines. And I would say, wow, this is heaven, these wines are. Because there were sweet ones, a flavor that's incredible that I've never found in any other wine, and also dry. I mean, incredible, these wines. I don't think Noah's any expert in making wine. I don't care if he was 600 years old. I could give a fuck. I don't believe that he makes wine as good as it is made now. But not even that. What is Noah going to teach us? How to make an ark. I believe that Noah didn't know how to make an ark. God, Elohim, told him how to make it. And he, give or take, made it. And out of his own miracle, it stayed afloat. But out of that, I think that the technology of making boats is better now. I believe that the technology of all types of transportation is better now. So then what could Noah teach us? I don't know, nothing. If we go even before that, let's talk about the famous Enoch. What could Enoch teach us? We have a book that's good. We take things from the book. We laugh at that book. At first we accepted it entirely. Now I take it as fable. But I can take things from there, though, because they're interesting. They're ancient books, but it's got nothing to teach us. Just like that, Enoch has nothing to teach us. Not in scriptures of what is written about him, because it says that Enoch walked with God, and God took him. In other words, God killed him. because God doesn't take us anywhere. Enoch is dead. Enoch never was taken alive to no paradise. Enoch was left dead as Yahweh taken Enoch, and Yahweh took those before the flood, Yahweh took Moses, and Yahweh took the whole humanity. That is clear. So then a Christian reads that and says, in Yahweh, and he was taken by God. Taken where by God? Nowhere, to the grave. That's the only place where God usually, no, not usually, always, and in every case takes the person to the grave. That is what he'll take you to the Messiah come, and he will start to resurrect those which Elohim took to the grave. That is the order. That is why the order is so important. If there were an order in which Enoch was a favorite of Elohim, and he took him alive to some place, heaven, paradise, who knows where, then there's no Elijah, there's no one more superior to Enoch. Enoch is with Elohim from practically 5,000 years ago. A little bit more, I don't know, a little less. Who knows, 5,000 years approximately. Is superior in every aspect to us. What would Yahweh say that he comes, even though in a symbolic manner, to come look for a bride? Enoch already has the bride as a symbolism. Enoch has it. No, absolutely not. And Enoch will always be greater than the Messiah. Because Enoch lived many more years than the Messiah. Enoch lived everything. So then there's not one soul living being. No one. When the Bible says, and Enoch was taken, how does it say exactly in the scriptures? Can somebody quote it? Did somebody quote it there, Leslie? He says, and he walked with God, and what? And God took him, right? Let us see. Let's go to Genesis chapter 5 or 6. Chapter 5? Chapter 5. 5:22. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God assassinated him. Of course, that's not what it says. It doesn't say that. It was all it needed to say. It wouldn't be concealed otherwise. For God took him, because God took him. And you ask, where did God take him? Where did God take him? He took him to the grave, because God took him to the grave, just like he took all the human beings, specifically Moses, would tell him, come up here. And Moses was doing well, best health. He could have done a medical check under today's standards. I mean, not even his eyesight. You have 20/20 vision. You can play with the champions of the world with Argentina. Moses, you're here. You can do up. You're up for anything. And so then, well, stay here. Went up to Moses. Suddenness, because God vaccinated him. He vaccinated him just like he vaccinated this man. Talking about in a good manner, so you can't block me. I'm talking about God's vaccines. He vaccines you and transports you and takes you. God takes you. Very well. Those are the things which the Christians cannot comprehend. They could never comprehend, ever. In fact, in order to try to explain in one way or another, coherent manner, that is, the life of Enoch alive, Ellen G. White and the Adventist pioneers said that Enoch and Moses, because they think that Moses also was resurrected and he was taken, Enoch and Moses lived out of the act of like a loan of when Jesus was going to die on the cross. Or else we have the problem saying, no, wait, if Enoch and Moses are alive with God, then why did the Son of Man come to die? It wasn't needed. If Enoch was transported with God, they don't need the blood of the Son of God. There is a theological problem there because, of course, then it is Elohim says, I'll take this guy. No, but wait, what about my blood father? Just imagine, my blood father. I'll give it to you as an anticipation because you know you're going to give it. I know you're going to do it. So as an anticipation, I'll give him an eternal life already. And the Adventist made me believe, and I used to believe, and I've said it at some point in time, you know that in the transfiguration, the other one that left, also Elijah, I was forgetting. Moses and Elijah. Elijah also was taken to heaven in a fire chariot. He was taken to heaven and it descended like that. Elijah ascended as much as Elon Musk's spaceships ascend. They go up into heaven and they come back down and they are buried underwater. Elijah also died, and Elijah is not alive. He's not alive. He died. He died because God took him. He says, I'm taking you. And Elisha was below applauding. Elijah was taken. No, it was a grave chariot. It could be the grave chariot. He took him in the grave chariot. And Elijah went up trustworthy, trusting in his God that who knows where he was going to take him. He didn't feel anything. Because when he noticed, he no longer noticed. Nothing had happened. Another one that went into Yahweh's grave chariot. So then in the transfiguration, the disciples, because it's written, but it wasn't so, the disciples think they see the figure of Elijah and Moses. They believe they see that. That's what they say. Do we make you a sukkah, or for you, like a tent for you? Because they were about to celebrate Sukkot. Do we make you a tent for you? For Elijah and Moses? Because there were no pictures in that time. There was no Facebook. There was no Google. There was nothing. How did the disciples know how Moses looked? Explain that to me. How did the disciples know how Elijah looked? Explain that to me. But they saw him and they said, oh, look, that's Moses. I mean, they were so brilliant, these fishermen. They were the brilliant ones. They had that capacity of distinguishing characters they've never seen before, since that's Moses and that's Elijah. The Adventists explained to me that they came because Jesus was very perturbed, way too perturbed. And so then, when he was so perturbed, way more perturbed than other days prior to that, at some point in time, Yahweh the Father said, the Father thought, what if my son fails? I've heard that from the Adventists. Yeah, what if my son fails? So then those that were at play were the ones that had been living from years and years with the Father out of just a loan. It was just an IOU. So then they looked at each other, Elijah and Moses, and they said, hey, this guy, if he doesn't give his blood, we'll disappear right away because we're alive because of the blood that he was to pour out in this 4,000 years and whatever. Let's go and talk to him. Look, we're here alive with you. You better go through the test that you have to, okay? Because we are depending on it. Maybe you forgot about us. But it's been thousands of years that we've been living with you. And you better die, because if you don't die, then we die. because we only live because of your IOU. Because if there's no pouring of the blood, I'll say it like the blood says, then there's no remission of sins, which also the Christians say, and then all the sins that Moses and Enoch had depended that such Jesus, that one Jesus to come thousands of years later and to pay for it. And then he'll say, okay, oh, the debt I had, a good thing he paid for it. And so then seeing that the guy doubted, it's kind of like if somebody is about to die and they have him there at the hour and somebody has to go and declare him that, no, I've seen these people, I am the one to pay if I am the guilty one. And then he starts to doubt. They could say, hey, go, because her life depends on it. So then the Adventists lie to you, saying that Elijah and Moses appeared to accompany him and say him and remind him, you have to die. I know it's difficult, but you have to die. So then Yeshua said, okay, then I'll die. Do you understand what I'm saying? Those are the logical conclusions of Christianity. The thing is that Elijah did not show up, nor Moses, nor did the disciples had any idea to know how they looked, nor was it an inspiration of the Holy Spirit or anything of the sort. So then Elijah and Moses, they're all dead. Up until today, they are dust. They have no conscience, no reality. They are waiting for the Mashiach to come and resurrect them, to tell them, Elijah up, Moses up, Enoch up. And the Christians will not be able to believe that they believed their whole life that God took them, that God resurrected them, that they're going to say, it was only lies, the inheritance of our fathers. That is the next text, Jeremiah 16:19 through 21. All the Christians, when they see Elijah dead and resurrected, Moses dead and resurrected, and Elijah dead and resurrected, they're going to say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there's no avail. If it is man that makes himself gods, then they're not gods. Then I'll make it be known unto them. I'll show them this time the strength of my name. They shall know that my name is Yahweh. It is all related with everything. So then, the order is primordial. That is why then Yeshua said unto the Jews. He didn't tell the Arabs, not the Christians, didn't tell anyone else but the Jews. Because the order is Jewish, Christian, and then us. We cannot even avoid Christianity because Christianity has a part which is fundamental for our mind to mature. Never, and if at some point in time I've said it or you have thought it, it's wrong. They take prestige away from the steps that humans have taken as humanity. Not us, because we got to exist in the last part, but we are standing above all the Jews and all the Christians as a base. If we think as we think today, it's because there was a Christianity. If there had not been a Paul, there had not been a Rome, conquering Rome, then we could never get to these conclusions. So then we have to look to the rest of the steps of humanity as fundamental. We could laugh, because of course for me it was also fundamental to learn to walk. And I would fall, and I would walk with my hands and knees. But I can laugh at all that, but tell me if it would sound like Paul. Was it not fundamental for me to be a child? I could not be a man now, a brilliant man at that, if I had not had a stage of childhood with parents that I needed to have, with a culture that was necessary for me to have, with a religious surrounding, familiar and economical, which was necessary for me, with a special ideology for me, I could not be who I am today. It is so important, the ambient the environment where you're being brought up. That's why the Jews are absolutely fundamental. The Christians are absolutely fundamental. The Arabs, Not at all whatsoever. Muslims, to me, Elohim placed them there just to stop these. That's the only thing. But in my doctrine, zero. Zero. Just like that, zero. They have not helped me to grow. They were just a barrier so that the other group, the chosen one, would not become stronger. It had to have a balance, put a barrier, stop them. Doctrinally so, in the search of the truth, there is not one sole thing that they have brought to the table. The Jews, absolutely. The Christians, absolutely. And when I talk about the Christians, I'm referring to all the steps of Christianity since they were born with Paul until I was born with the Adventist Church. All the steps fundamental. Paul, the Catholic Roman Christianity, fundamental. They were in charge of placing the truth on earth so that it would give fruit. They conquered America by force. They brought the Virgin Mary and Christ Jesus to you, even if you didn't want to, and it took from you this human sacrifices. They took paganism with any sense at all whatsoever, took it out, and it was fundamental. If it weren't thanks to the Catholics, then the Protestants would not exist. Do you understand? That's the way it is. So then, instead of, I want you to understand this, we could laugh, because we were born, but it doesn't mean that they're not important. They're absolutely important, every one of them. Christians, Protestants, which are Christian, the Catholics, and the Jews. Absolutely necessary. That is where the Messiah comes from. The Messiah doesn't come due to an Arab root. No. The Messiah comes through the Jews, the Christian ones, and in the end of it all, he starts to elevate and elevate. Very well, absolutely. I hope this concept has been understood. Why did Yeshua say unto the Jews at that point in time that had believed on him, if ye were to remain in my word, then you shall truly be my disciples, and you shall know the truth, because the truth was to continue to be elevated and ascend. It was not going to stay there with the Jews. It was going to ascend. It was going to continue to ascend until the eternal truth would arrive. And the truth will make you free. Free from what? From all the beliefs. But we're steps. And a step ladder is still just as fundamental, the first step, as the last one, because if I start to cut down the steps, then the step ladder comes apart. If I grab the Bible and say, all this actually it isn't so, and it's not inspired, and it's no good for anything, where am I standing? Where am I hanging from? My whole step ladder depends from someday. Yahweh told Abraham, come out of Ur from the Chaldeans. That is where my whole ladder depends from. And then afterwards, from Jacob. That Jacob had 4 wives. That is where my step ladder depends from. And from the ladder, from there comes the people of Israel. And the people of Israel comes the Torah. Anything that I cut out from there, my stepladder comes undone. Which means that they had the truth. No, they had a present truth. Everyone had a present truth. It was a ladder. It was a step in the ladder until you get to the Mashiach. But the Mashiach says, this whole ladder is valid, absolutely valid. That is the ladder. The entire ladder is valid. That is why it says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth shall make you ascend. Proverbs 25:2, it is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word. The word is concealed precisely by that reason, to ascend in the truth. Yet the glory of the King, the Mashiach, the sons of Elohim, is to search out the word. Very well. Malachi 2:17, that's why we've got here the little octopus, which I love the little octopus. Yeah, he is upset. Until we see things be fulfilled, he's going to be upset. And we've got Eddie. We've got Edward. We've got Eddie in representation of anything that is the good music, actual real music, and also the strength and the passion in every aspect. We've got Eddie calling out. And what are they calling out? Where is the Elohim of justice? We already know where the Elohim of justice is. Here is the Elohim of justice, but it has yet to be the time to become the anointed one. Once he becomes the anointed one, then he becomes the Mashiach, which means the anointed one. Malachi 2:17, and ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, and ye say, in what have we wearied him? In that ye say that whomever doeth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth. Or else, where is the Elohim of justice? LVE is the Elohim of justice. Very well. Let us begin with some questions. I'm going to read only one, but it's four. It's got 4 parts, and then we move on to the subject that we'll try to present today, even though today I'll talk only for 2 hours. I'd like to know if you're giving me likes every time. You see that you comment even less. I thank you for your comments. I thank you that you're here. I thank you for your support. And we are in the 196 likes, 212 watching live at this point in time. Though that did not give us a like, I thank you. Likes are going up. Even though if it's out of affection and gratefulness, love towards his ministry. I thank you for all your comments. One asked me, why did I put a heart on the comments? These are the questions, dumb questions. I'll answer it quickly. It is our way, both as Leslie as mine, of thank you that you write. If the comment is give or take good, there's a heart. If the comment is directly negative, then there's no heart there. But if the comment is give or take a heart, and if the comment is good, give or take upwards, then we have a heart, which means we've read it, and we thank you that you took the time to write some words. That is what that heart means. Because the eternal truth, we are one. That is why we've been joining, coming together in many things, very unique things that gives us a sense of belonging. If we were all different, then we would not belong to anything. Once we start to live, to enjoy and understand unique things, it gives us a sense of belonging. And the Mashiach has a strong sense of belonging, very strong. So then the first question says, first and anything, thank you for this marvelous opportunity to ask you questions. Question number 1. When the parents get to a very advanced age in which if one of them or both are not in the conditions to live alone, paralyzed, their eyesight left, or their sanity, how could one act in a case like that from somebody from LVE, an LVEite that belongs and understands this truth, an LVEite? Can they take him to live with them or with them in the case that they are living with a partner and the partner is in agreement? Well, a question that, in my sense, well, it's easy to answer. It could be complicated for many of you. The thing is that the following, I'm going to say things that are controversial, which, as a Christian, when we were Christian, they were absolutely unacceptable. I know that many quote the 5th commandment, which says, honor thy father and thy mother. That, how did it say, honor thy father and thy mother? That, wow. How long has it been that I haven't read that? Honor thy father and thy mother, that your days be lengthened in the land that the Lord gives you. But I didn't quote that. I think I needed something in between. Yeah, that's right. Honor thy father and thy mother, that your days. I quoted it perfectly. I thought there was something else. The part about that your days be lengthened. No, there's something in the midst. No, nothing. It says, honor thy father and thy mother, that your days be lengthened in the land which Jehovah your God gives you. That is what the text says, literally. So then many take that. What is honor? Okay, honor is not to take care of them when they are already absolutely old. That is not the honor that it talks about. Honor is when they are okay still. It could be part of that. I'm not going to discuss and argue that. What I'm getting at is the following. The fathers, parents, and I know that you, and maybe I'm going to hurt your feelings of some of you, because not the whole world understands this. When I got married with Leslie, I fell in love with her in such a manner, and Leslie of me, that the whole world that existed for us disappeared. My familiar world, and I'll call it like that, my familiar world no longer existed. Her familiar world stopped existing. What was my familiar world? My father, my mother, my two sisters, and the brothers-in-law and all the rest, the nephews and all the rest. In Leslie's world, same thing. And to that we can add the uncles and all the rest. But that passed on to not a second plane, a third, fourth, fifth, or ninth plane. Almost kind of like when Elohim told Abraham, Lech Lecha, I want you to abandon and leave behind and separate yourself from your kin completely. Once you leave them, you're no longer going to send them emails because they no longer exist. They're not going to send them emails because there's not that either. I want you to leave them there forever. That is why it is so important when we study. From many years ago, we were studying the Torah, and we studied the life and the calling of Abraham, which was Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha is leave everything. Leave your whole kin. I want you to go to a land that's far away, where you never hear about your parents. To not worry about when they live, die, get sick, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even the inheritance of your fathers, nothing. That's difficult. It is difficult. I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying what happened to Abraham. But to us, both Leslie and myself, without the order of Yahweh, we left absolutely our kin behind. It's so behind that we left 18,000 kilometers away, very well behind. We traveled after some time of being married. We traveled from Argentina to the US of A, leaving them way behind, mind you, way more than Abraham's little trip. Way behind, absolutely behind. For what reason? For many, that's very harsh. For us, we could care about anything. It wasn't even difficult. We weren't looking to be far away. We were already away. We lived close to them, but told them to not visit us. Just like that, as you hear me speak, and that comes out of my mouth. Thing is that the way in which you were brought up and all the rest, maybe it seems inconceivable. When Leslie and I got married, I asked my parents to not come at all. To not come is not to not come is when they to not come anymore under any circumstances. And if the day that I want to see them, I would call them. But for them to not be coming to my house, and even less by surprise. Was it like that, Leslie, or not? Completely. As I am explaining to you, I understand that you cannot comprehend this because you tell me all these stories entirely contrary to that. They want their parents, their sons to live there together, everyone together, and then you get diabetes, you get that, high blood pressure, you don't even know where all that comes from, and all types of sicknesses. and all types of things, and they don't know where it comes from. They don't know where it comes from, and they all live together. There's no space. There's no territory. Always the struggle for territory exists, and they don't even notice it. You don't even notice that there is rejection, there's hate, there is nausea, repugnancy. They don't even notice that exists. Oh, I got diabetes just like my mother, just like my grandmother, and they're all there. They come home with their eyesight, they can't even see, and they see that they don't want to see what they have there. They don't notice. Who's going to notice that? Both Leslie and I don't wear any eyeglasses, nor my dogs, nor nobody in my family. We like what we see. We like what we see up close, what we see from afar. We like that. We love it. It's something. Those are DHSs. And then later we have asthma. It says my son has asthma. They have the son like this all the time, and the son has asthma and asthma. What's going on? Oh, we have to help the baby. Don't forget the butyrol or whatever the fuck they call it. And the baby can't even breathe. Of course, the mother and the father are absorbing all the available oxygen because they're on top of him. They don't give him space. They control absolutely everything. Then they say, I don't know. He has this problem, is this and that. He doesn't know how to speak, and 10,000 things. But the secret of everything is to understand what the first chapter of the Bible says, or the second one. I can't remember if it was the first or the second. That says, and the man shall leave, lech lecha, shall leave. The man shall leave his father and his mother, and shall join unto his wife, and they shall be an Ekhad, only one thing. It says it just like that. What does this? What do you mean leave? Yeah, leave. Shall leave. So then the question that comes up, that says, I have my parents, old parents. Okay, let me tell you, I mean, it seems everything to be so loving, so sensible. It would seem as beautiful that you have your grandma, your grandpa, they're at home. And it is pernicious. It is better that the grandpa, if he's no longer any good, well, I'm going to say things that I want to hold. Right, it's a whole chain of events. It is all a chain. See, that's what happens. That is one of the things that Leslie says. It is very important that the love that you have between the man and the woman, maybe they have not reached that level of love, as she said. Sometimes there is love, but there's still a strong love towards their mom and dad. It is a cultural problem. It is a cultural problem. So then the question is, what happens in the case of the parents getting to an advanced age and they need someone to take care of them? Let me tell you, if there's no one at home, in other words, I'm going to try to be specific and try to make myself be understood. If one has parents that you have to take care of and you are unmarried, you have no problem in living with them, then you can take care of them if you want to. There's no obligation. Zero obligation. Zero. What he could do is help them with money and place them in a home for them. If a couple is married and they have their parents sick already, and of course your heart could break and say, I have to take care of them, it's my mom. The woman could say, it is my mom, or the guy could say that. It's my dad. The woman would say, it is my dad. The guy could say. But it is all completely out of place. It is, sacred harmony is broken. That is at home. It is broken. It is left without effect. The matrimony is, believe it or not. Because there is a presence of someone that does not belong there. No matter if it was your mom, no matter if it was your dad. God abandoned us 6,000 years ago. He came 2,000 years ago. He fucked off and left again, and you don't have him at home with you anymore. You talk to him, you plead with him, you ask him, but you don't have him. You don't have him because when you do bad things, you forget that he's there. You don't have that present. Is he looking? No, he's not there. He's only there when you need him. But he does not accommodate you at home. What am I trying to say? A couple, when even if you have a father, a mother that is very good parents, it's ill to bring him to your own home. You can criticize me about this. That's your problem. Completely your problem. Doesn't mean that you're right. Doesn't mean that you're right. Biblically speaking, I'm right. Not just biblically. I could care less about that. Healthily, socially, familiarly or kinly, I am right. Because he cannot bring the presence of someone to his home. In my mind, I would be dead if I have to live with my mother-in-law in my own home. I mean, it's a automatic separation, just like that. That's all I have to tell you. It's the way it is. It is me or your mom. It is not the case of Leslie, not in the very least. But I'm just giving an example. The same thing she would tell me. I'm going to bring my dad to live here. I'm going to give him a little room there. Oh, no. You can go with your dad. Leslie would tell me. It is not my case either. My dad is dead. I'm just giving you an example. Or my mom, whatever. This is not a hospital to take care of the sickly. And also not the last place where they have to live until they die. No. In fact, it says I'm so in favor that when an old man can no longer have any conscience or suffering, to give him a good vaccine that ends his life. I'm completely in agreement with that. At this point in life, I'm sure this hurts you. I am completely in agreement to put an end to the life of a person that is no good for anyone. It's not in the hands of God. It is in our hands, because we're God's. It is very easy to say, for God to take the life. No. The one that has to break his hands working, the one that has to live with that person, it is we, not God. If God wants him, take him. He does not decide. He decides our life at other levels. I'll tell it to you right now. But I am in favor that when a person, an adult person, by their own decision, says, you know what, I've lived everything. I have this. I'm not sure if I'm going to get cured. I don't want to get cured. I'm already sick and tired of living. Why live to get up and just look at myself and everything hurts? They have to help me. They have to even wipe my ass because I can't even move. That is complete humility. It's complete. It is not because of an accident momentarily, but a poor old man. Yahweh made him live like that, absolutely lame, that can't even wipe his own behind to go to the bathroom. That person is ready to say, I no longer want to exist if I am suffering, being humbled, humiliated. I tell you, if I myself would take cards into the account, I tell you with all the braveness, absolutely, I'm not going to be anybody's burden. If I'm not worth anything for this humanity, I'm not going to be here, and even less for my children. I tell you right now, that decision is taken from many years ago. Why? I am not going to be a burden for them to be bathing me, for them to be taking care of me, and if I have conscience, because I have no conscience, what am I going to do? If I have conscience still, and it's still there somehow, that life ends there, because I want peace for my mind. And God does not decide that, I decide that, because I'm God. Simple as that. The same thing with an old man that has no conscience. If they see that he has no more conscience, he hasn't anything, it is the most humane thing to, and wisest thing to do. Just like a dog that I had to put to sleep. Almost all my dogs. I only had one dog that died on her own. It was my life easier. But the rest, when they could no longer walk, when their legs were broken because their hips go out, when I see them that they cannot breathe and they are laying there, they're still suffering. So then I act and I put an end to that life right there and then, just like that, no problem. Does it hurt me? Yes, it does hurt me. Do I want to do it? I wish I didn't have to. But do I do it? Well, without even thinking twice. I do it without thinking twice. I see where I'll make a little hole, I'll do it without thinking. What would happen if they were to allow me to do this with, how do I say this? With beings of my own kind that I could not help? Oh, I would take them out of their misery quickly, just like that, quickly. I'll take all of them out of their misery. That they're like, who wants to live like they're in a wheelchair? It's so humiliating. If I had a little bit of energy to grab something that takes my life, I would grab it right there and then. Be just out of own pride. We are gods. We cannot be living in humiliation for them to be feeding me like, and it's running down my throat. No, we can't live like that. It is hell, worse than hell, the worst hell of the worst of the worst. So then, where did we go off with this question? It says that I support completely that when a person is incapacitated, really, we need to help them to rest. Just like that. You hear it from my own mouth. I'm not Christian. I'm not Christian, and I'm not here to say our lives depend on God's hands. I'm going to leave this poor old man suffering, yelling, giving him all types of chemical products of pharmakeia to keep him alive. And then later, when God wants, what do you mean when God wants? I'll use the pharmakeia itself and then put an end to it. Just like that. Put an end to it. If you don't agree with me, I understand. You're still Christian, and you have a lot to learn. So then, what do I do with parents? A matrimony consolidated with children. You see your parents, that you love them and everything. You gave them everything. You have to do the impossible to look for the best place that you can to take care of them, a home where there's a nurse, the best that you can pay for it, because you know that in some places they make them suffer. You know about this. There's no need for me to tell you. There's no need for them to say. In your possibilities, you shall provide for them to be taken care of by people which even generates a job, an income, and it's not a problem for you, for your children. You have to look after your wife before your parents. Is it going to affect my wife if I bring my parents? Yes, it will. Maybe she's good and she says, yeah, bring them. We'll do with how. No, it'll affect her. Obviously, it'll affect her. It's not a visit. Visit is different. To live is not the same thing. The same thing if the mother wants to bring, the wife wants to bring her mother because the mother is old. You have to know that the chemistry of the home changes. Leslie has a very valid point. There are some cases, but I cannot speak about those cases. I'll say Leslie's right. There are some cases which the chemistry becomes positive because there's more people, because if they have fewer people, then they kill each other. There's no love there. There's no union. There's not even a dialogue between the couple. So then, of course, the more people there are, it would all be dissimulated. They don't fight because there are people. There's no yelling because there's people. So then they say, no, it's better that they're all there, crowded, all the uncles. So then, since the husband doesn't talk to the wife, but the husband does talk with the sister-in-law or the mother-in-law or the father-in-law, so then they can cover it up a little bit. That is not normal. It is not a couple. That is a disaster. That is why I cannot give advice in base to that. I give advice in a well-formed home. In a well-formed home is a husband and a wife in which there's lots of love in between them. That can there be arguments? There should be arguments, but also for there to be incredibly good moments, there has to be. That is a couple. With sons or no sons or children. You cannot bring strangers, not upwards, parents, fathers, uncles, not below, sons of others, or not sons, but nephews, and those types of things. All types of things. So then, what was the question? The question is, when the parents get to a very advanced age, I'm telling you, the best thing is rest. In which, if some of them, they're not the conditions of living alone, they're lame and this blah, 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 put them in a home. Rent a home and pay a lady to take care of them day and night. Oh, I don't have money. Oh, but you will bring them home, right? To ruin the little you do have. You have to get all the children, if there's only one, and to place them in a place where they can be. But the solution is not to bring them home. That's it. I've answered that question and says, can they take them to live with them? No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. You have the other cases that I know, and that there are in the eternal truth, where the couple lives in the home of the parents. So then it's not like you can kick the parents and says, oh, you have to leave, this is our house. No, no, no. That is completely disastrous of this world. Because they didn't follow the first law. That everything that comes after, if they cannot follow the first law, like the Shemah, then everything that comes afterwards, it's pernicious, it's evil, there's no sense to even comment it. What is the first law? Never should the children go and live with their married parents. If the children go with their parents after they get married, you break that, you break everything in life. You break everything. Listen to me well, you break everything. You get married and you go and live with your parents, you go and break everything. You break your home, you break the home of your parents, you break your own personality, you break any blessing that you'll be able to receive. You break everything because you have not respected the first law of the Bible. A man shall leave his father and mother and shall look for a woman and join her, and they will become one flesh. Ready. That's it. Just like that. Just as you hear me. Just almost as if they did Adam and Eve of leaving their father to fuck them off to hell with this garden of Eden and that. And live, you know what? You can shove that garden of Eden with your tree of life, all that. We've ate from it already. I repent from having stolen, but that's good. Because the sons wanted to live with the father. No, fuck off. No, leave. This is my garden. It's not a garden of God. If he said, this is my tree, it's my garden also. Yes, of course. So then they didn't want to leave there. Okay, then leave. Leave. Believe it or not, even then there is a figure. Believe it or not, okay? There's a figure even there that we want to break. Break. Just like that, break. Once you are a parent, a father and a mother, up until a certain age, after a certain age, when they get to maturity, the children that get to maturity already made men, they leave, but when they leave, they leave. They leave. So then if the law is broken, then it says, I have nowhere to live. Mom and Dad, can I live with my wife here, my girlfriend here in a little room? The father says, well, there's a room where the grandma there already died because she lived with us, that little room. If there isn't, I'll make you one behind. Like in Argentina, like above, whichever. The laws are no good, something behind, even more above, and we continue to build. So I've seen 2 or 3 Mexico. Look at what Mexico is. I'm not talking to people with money. The people with money have spectacular homes. Go to Tijuana, go to Mexico City, go to somewhere else, and you'll see constructions, and then another construction, another building, a chorizo here, and then another chorizo here. Is that how it was designed? No, that was the son, the father, the uncle, and then something following like that. One more wall, a different color, and you say, what about that column? No, because it was left. They said he left them thinking there, so that when his son would grow, he can already build his house there, and we can build upwards. So you have the columns like that with the metal sticking out because they're thinking about growing. A complete disaster. Complete disaster. Man has to go. Has to go. He will never become an actual man. A man has to have a world and to be a conqueror of his world. There cannot be the man with the father living in one sole territory, they're like animals, The son of the Lion King has to wait for the father to die or look for his own territory. He's never going to expect to be a king while the father is the king, never, ever. He'll always be a slave. He has to go to become a true king, or else he lives under the shadow of the father. Do you understand that it is fundamental? All of us have done it. All of us was so King Lion that I told my dad and my mother-in-law, and my mother-in-law wasn't so much in agreement for us to get married. And says, if you don't let us get married by the church, I'll leave with Leslie. I have no problem. No, but I'm a pastor. You can't do this. My dad didn't say that. My dad looked at me and said, yeah, he's out of here. He's out of here. And maybe later we'll have a surprise with Leslie that we didn't have until 10 years later, because we understood that very clearly. He's like, he's out of here. Let's get married. When do you want to get married? I said in February. We had to get married. Okay then. Okay, in February they get married. Let's fix it all real quick. No, that was after. It was a lot after. That was afterward. A lot after where I had money and I said, I'll buy a property of those. And he said, no. My dad said, no. No, go somewhere else. And I thought that was great. I was intelligent. Exactly. Because that time I was young and I could still think that maybe a brutal mistake. And my two sisters, they built houses behind their house. Don't believe that what I'm teaching now was taught by my mother and father. No, don't think, it's easy for Christian because everything he's teaching was taught to him by his parents. No, my ass. No, absolutely not. My two sisters, my dad took care of them and made a house for them. Where? In the house that he bought, the long one, they made another house in the middle and another house at the end. So then all types of problems, and both of them separated. And my mom separated because he died. And now they're about to almost she's going to kick the can at any second. How do they say it? They can kick the can at any second now. My mom will kick the can at any second. I'll be so happy. I'm going to feel. I don't know how she didn't kick it before. Because, tell the truth, if we are not whole, it's if this is a soccer game. Messi injured. You have to take him out. Mr. Scaloni should have taken him out for the first time. Messi, the first half, you can't run. I'll take you out. Because you make me stop my team. Because the team will respect you. You're a leader. You're the best. But you're stopping them. So then I'm going to give you the ball to see how you can play. No matter if you're extraordinary, you're stopped. I'll take you out. Either you add or you take away. If you don't gather with me, what did Yahweh do? He says, if you don't gather, you spread. Then Messi came out and Argentina played a lot better, but Messi had to have left way before. If he's injured, out. Without any contemplation, people, no, leave him. Take him out. The one that can play, can play. The one that can play gets to the end. Just like that. The one that is okay can go to the end. The one that doubted, that got injured, he didn't get there. He just didn't get there. So then, no matter if the couple is in agreement or not, let that be very clear. I'll sum it up. You should never have, not out of compassion or love or out of the commandment or a burden, like something in the family matters, to have your parents with you. Never, ever, under any circumstances. Not, even if they're kind of sick or completely sick, under any circumstances should the parents live with you. You had to have fulfilled the first law of not having lived with them, because if it's their home, what can I tell you? You've done everything incorrectly from the very beginning. I'm talking to you, those that left. If you left, you made your own home, and your parents are old now, they're gonna end up in a different place. There's not a family gathering and I'll leave when you're old. I'll bring you back. No. We came out of the uterus of the mother and we are out forever. And we are out forever. Just like the religions, we came out of religion. Judaism, we went to Christianity. And from Christianity, we went to Adventism. From Adventism, we left. And all those that left from other places to the eternal truth. There's no going back. Possibly, if you want to go back, it'll always be unhappy. There is no turning back. So then the parents should not return with their children. Their children should help them in an institution so that their last days, they can spend them in the very best way possible and already in agreement with the country and about anything else. If they can help when there is pain. To end the pain, it should be that way. If they desire so or if not, but they're not conscious to take that possibility, then you make the decision for them if the laws allow it. In complete agreement with those laws. So then the question is answered. In what case? In none. Not still being okay or kind of give or take. The parents should never go back to live with their children. The parents, they ascend to their place. The children ascend to their place. They no longer get together. Everyone is a separate place. The parents have gotten to the end of their life. They go to a home until they die. That's it. And if you don't understand, I have no problem with that. You still have a lot to learn. You still have your culture rooted. Question number 2. If somebody will immigrate to another country and they ask for a vaccine for your pet, would an LVE vaccine his pet? I don't know if that's equivalent to a question that they asked you about sterilizing, spaying, neutering, and spaying your pet. Okay, whatever injection for the dogs, out of those that are obligatory, they're obligatory. And you want to have them legally, then you have to do it. Against injections that are just tests and that have no sense, but for example, other ones like rabies, whether it works or not, it's outside of our control. Actually, it could be. I have many doubts. Okay, look, I have absolutely my doubts whether it works or not. According to the statistics, I know that a lot of them are lies. According to the statistics, rabies has been eradicating thanks to these shocks. I don't want to say that word a lot. Those shots for rabies. Does it work? I don't know. Will it hurt the dog? That I also don't know. But if I believe that you should give them the shot if you're going to travel or if you're going to have your dog legally. Tell the truth, I don't know. In my case, even some are already up. I have to go actually now. Look, I'm so hot in here right now. But I have no problem with those. Now, the other ones about the parvo and all the rest, tell the truth, I don't know. What do you want me to tell you? That I don't know. That I don't know. I've always told my dogs, not lately, but in my whole life, I've given them the shots. I've learned to do. They never give them a bad effect. They all lived a long life. That's what I'm telling you. Are they there to shorten the life of the dog? I don't think so. Because they lived a long life. Many lives. Many years in their life, a long life. Did it become him like a eunuch, infertile? I could not tell you. Did he sterilize them? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know. So then I'm not going to get into that subject. If I say that it's obligatory, for the rest, it is your decision. Your decision. They're not. They're about the mark or anything written in the Bible for animals, okay? There isn't. And I also don't know that. I don't know what effect it is. The thing is that if your dog bites somebody, you'd have a certificate, you're going to have a lot of problems. Not only you shall have problems, the guy should also have problems. Because he has to go through therapy. That's all I have to say about that. Don't do that. In the case of rabies, it would be intelligent to have it. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever it might be. Whatever. I don't know. Question number 3. Someone who's no longer in LVE, whether caring whether they left in a good manner or not, but they're against the system or not, would they be a part of the third? That we're about. We're gonna. It's just like we shall see. We shall see. I don't even believe in that third. See, that's the thing. Let's start with that. That whole way of seeing the scriptures, when the change of the apocalypse of what we thought that would change, now even the interpretation has changed that 1/3 is left and 2/3 leave. For me to leave all the 2/3 on earth, see, that's the thing. So then that third has changed. It has changed. I no longer believe that there's going to be 1/3 on earth. I could care less what it says, and 2/3 are left. Leave and 1/3 will be left. No, in my point of view, let all 3/3, all 3/3 stay. All 3/3 to stay. And the hard-headed, we're going to have them until we convince them. It is very easy to convince them. I'll start with that. The hard-headed don't have to, before I used to believe, they don't have to go through the experience of death. The only ones that would go through the experience of death is those that look for it because they want to fight it, or amongst them, or not even the Mashiach will do something to destroy them. Now I understand it. He won't do it. He'll do the contrary to stop them and to change their way of thinking. If the Mashiach is powerful, like he says, like the scripture says, just an example. If the Mashiach has all the power, let's say that he has all the power, kind of like, I don't know, a Superman, created by a Jew thinking in the biblical Mashiach, for those that didn't know. He's the super Mashiach, actually, not Superman. He is the Mashiach, the super Mashiach. Under the Jewish concept of how Mashiach would be, he said, well, I'll make it in a caricature, and Superman came up. Let's suppose that has not with the cape or anything. Let's suppose that he has extraordinary powers. They cannot kill him. He cannot be killed. He can resurrect. He can do whatever he wants. Even if an army were to come to fight against him, he should not annihilate them if he has power to just make their weapons not work. Do you understand what I'm saying? If a crowd were to come, let's just give an example. If a crowd were to come with knives and with clubs, like in the old times against the Mashiach, and who's alone there on the street, the Mashiach doesn't have to annihilate them all like Elijah. Elijah, he would kill 50 by 50. Mashiach could look at him and say, hey, boys, careful. Those knives can start to get heated and get them red hot. And you see how they're going to let go of them. They're going to let go. You can put a barrier that they cannot cross in a meter around them and says, attack. Let's see if you can attack. Break everything every time you hit. You're going to receive voltage even stronger. Every time you hit this barrier that protects me, you're going to receive 50 volts. Next one, 100 volts, and so on. You're going to not want to strike anymore, and when you all try that, they're going to listen to me. Listen to the Mashiach. They're going to listen to the Mashiach. They're going to listen because he's more powerful than them, and he seduces them and tells them, why do you want to fight against me? Why? It is a hard thing to kick the nest of wasps. Just like a child, he's so upset with something. You don't have to hit him. You can just take the weapon away from the child or not. How many times have you seen a child so upset? Like, there's no need for you to come with a weapon to stop the child. Well, the Mashiach sees the rest as children. Like children that can't do anything to him. Nothing, they can't do anything. So then he does with them whatever he wants. Does he have to kill him? Then he would be a Mashiach, an actual Mashiach. He wouldn't be. He would be a vengeful angel. What is written about the apocalypse, it would be a stupid wrath of Yahweh's. I can confront them, but I'm going to kill them all. So the Mashiach doesn't have to kill anyone. Who's going to die? Those that kill each other will die. Fighting each other, that don't understand something. In some war that the Mashiach does not intervene, but when the Mashiach rises, I think he's going to disarm even themselves. So then, I no longer believe that third. And if I no longer believe the third, the question has no longer sense. It no longer has sense. What does the eternal truth believe? We want to save everyone. Save everyone. Very well. So then it doesn't matter if they leave the eternal truth or not. Either way. Very well. Okay, question number 4. Do you think these questions are interesting? Yes? Okay. Question number 4. It says Leviticus 2:13. It says, and you shall season with salt every offering you present, and thou shalt suffer not the salt of the covenant of thy God to be lacking from thy meat offering with all thine offerings. Thou shalt offer salt. 2 Chronicles 13:5. Don't you know that Yahweh Elohim of Israel gave the kingdom unto David, upon Israel forever, to him and his children under the covenant of salt? I'm reading what it says there. If it's a different version, I'm reading the way it is written here in this question. So if it's misquoted, I don't know. There's no need for me to look the Bible to answer this. It says the WHO, which is the organization of the sicknesses. The WHO adverts that our consuming salt should be less than 5 grams a day. I take that. I think I take that. He said 5 grams. I mean, I take that by the spoonfuls. I would see if it's contrary to what the WHO says. I even questioned what was said by Yeshua or Yahweh about the consumption of salt. I found that according to what he mentioned, that salt is good, but if the salt has no longer taste, how will you season it? Have salt in yourselves and have peace with another. How do you have salt in yourself? By eating it? What is the relation of having either eating salt or having peace one with another? We should mention that the word in Greek for peace is eideneuo, which one of the meanings is to live in tranquility. Would that be a reference to the New Germanic medicine? Could it be the consumption of salt be beneficial for our health, our chemical ally per se? You are the salt of the world. I would love to know and comprehend the truth about the matter. That's where the question ends. Many thanks for your time and wisdom. Semper Fi. Okay, the question about the salt, I'll answer it quickly. If you don't eat salt, you die. If you eat too much salt, it becomes a poison. I don't know how many grams of salt, those that you eat, I don't know exactly. Okay, 200 grams, if you take it like that, you die. Why? It's all a poison, depending of the quantity. Everything becomes poison, even water, depending on the measure. So then, how much salt do we need? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm also not going to believe somebody tell me, and even less the WHO. Now, I eat all the salt that's necessary for my taste. If the food needs salt, I'll add salt. If the food has way too much salt, I'm going to complain. I'm going to add a tomato, and I'll try not to offend. I'll eat it, but you'll get too thirsty, but I'll eat it either way. In other words, high blood pressure has nothing to do with the determining factor with the salt. Now, it's the same thing as sugar and diabetes. Not because of eating sugar do you get diabetes. It is not the determining factor because you ate way too much candy, way too much sugar, too many popsicles. No, it wasn't that. You don't get diabetes from that. Now, once you have diabetes, then you have to reduce the consumption of sugar to almost nothing, so as to not feed the problem you already have, which was not the root of the problem, but you have to reduce it because that's the way it is. Even the same thing with salt and high blood pressure. Those that have high blood pressure, if they eat with too much salt, their blood pressure goes up. For some reason, it makes their blood pressure go up. There's no need to even know about the reason of why the blood pressure goes up. That is not the case. Not because of eating way too much salt will you have high blood pressure, but if you have other problems, then other beginnings that have other beginnings due to the question of different emotional aspects, salt will trigger your high blood pressure. You understand what I'm saying, right? Okay. I believe that you have to eat salt, everything that we need and can. It's good. That is why there are so many. They say I have not proven this fact. So many marvels of the seawater, to drink this and that it heals you. A whole bunch of things. Why did Yahweh talk about the salt? Because he likes it to eat everything with salt, even if he doesn't eat it. It is nasty. An asado without salt is completely filthy. And even if he were not to eat it, it was already to upset somebody to make a sacrifice without salt. So then it says, look, everything you offer me, please add salt. I would have told him the same thing. I would have told him exactly the same thing. If you're going to offer me bread, make it with salt. A bread without salt is filthy. A bread, I said it in English, a bread without salt, an unsalted bread is unclean, completely filthy. Meat without salt is nauseous, horrible. So then the people they're very afraid. For me, eat all you can of salt, as long as you don't have a problem already. Of course, everything, all you can is all you need, is what I mean. I don't think that life depends right there in the salt. I'll tell it to you right now, I don't believe that. But it's all, everything is conserved with salt. It can dry you up. You know what? You can add salt and it is conserved. So then actually, the question, I cannot answer it the way they ask me. Might that be the secret? No. I don't think it's no secret. But I also don't think, I eat a lot of salt. And actually, nobody suffers those supposed effects of salt. So then, and everything that Yeshua says about the salt, it is a simple symbol. But of course, let us forget the symbol. He's talking about the salt of marvelous. We have to eat everything with salt. I mean, of course. That is how we should learn to control our emotions, to know which they are, those that produce hypertension. If we know the ones that produce hypertension, then we're free to eat more salt. If we are imprisoned to hypertension due to other causes, then by obligation we have to reduce the consumption of salt. The same thing I could say about sugar. The same thing I could say about it. How horrible is to eat a cake without sugar or a candy without sugar? I don't know. Something that should be sweet. How many things that should be sweet? A candy without sugar. A juice, a simple juice. Well, the thing is that if the fruit is very good, it doesn't need sugar. But something that should have sugar, ice cream or something, even if it's just directly the fruit itself. But how horrible it is to eat without sugar. Very nasty. If something should have sugar, it's ugly not to eat it. And salt is the same thing. It's more superior than sugar. Salt, even sweet things have salt. If an ice cream has no salt, it's horrible. You know that. If a cake has not its good amount, I'm speaking English today, the exact amount of salt, which is just a pinch, that cake is not to be enjoyed. Everything that is sweet has salt as well. So then, what do we get in conclusion? That everything has to have salt. And if you have problems, that supposedly have to do with salt. It could be hypertension or other things about the kidney and all the rest. You have to look for the problems elsewhere. Eliminate salt until you fix your problems, for example. Same thing with sugar. It's exactly the same thing. The problem of diabetes is not sugar. The problem with diabetes is you. That is clear. That is very clear. But if you fix your problems, and if the pancreas rebuilds itself, then you can eat all the sugar you want. But your personality makes all that shoot and trigger. It wasn't the sugar. You have to take the weapons away from everything. The problem is not alcohol. The problem are the alcoholics. Because I could be surrounded with alcohol, and you're never going to see me drunk. The problem is not alcohol. The problem is the alcoholic person. What else did the song was? The problem is not what? That song? Arjonos? Yeah, what was the problem? How was it? Oh, the problem is not that they lie to me, but that I believe you. See, that's the problem. The problem is not that they lie to me, but that I believe you. Is that what the question, the song says, right? Arjona? Arjona? You know, he became Argentina. Did you know that? Wow. Incredible. Incredible, Arjona. Very well. Oh, Argentina, yeah, I told you that it was going to be easy. I told you it was going to be easy because it's kind of like taking candy from a baby. Colombia's a child, soccerly speaking. Good thing there's no Colombian listening. You're all Argentinians. Some live in Colombia, but they're Argentinians either way. Colombia never understood anything about soccer. We went through many select and coaches to teach Colombia to play. And we see Colombia as what they are, a son of ours completely. The way that they have of playing. So then the problem with Colombia is many between the problems. One of the problems is that they're Caribbean, and the Caribbean is just about partying. So then having talent and having an Argentinian teaching of what the essence of soccer is, and they have good players, they start to play even better every time we give them a way of game. They don't have the coach from now, but from many years ago. The problem with Colombia, the sin of Colombia, is that they are Caribbean, and the Caribbeans are like dancing, and they're like this and that. And if they can win, we're already celebrating, but if they're losing, then okay, forget it. They lose morale, and if they can't, they go into a wall, and well, psychologically they fall. Because Colombia needs to develop a championship mind, and that goes with every selection from every other country. They don't have it in their mind. A championship mind, the championship mind is one that's developed through championships. It is difficult to explain what I'm explaining, but it is so. That's what you call what mysticness is. Of course, they could be a champion like Colombia once, but one time Colombia once, Argentina decided not to play. Argentina did not show up like other selections that didn't show up into the Copa America. So then they said, you go ahead and play the children, let the children play. Can't remember what the problem was. Argentina said, we're not going to play. That was the one that Colombia won. But they are not used to get to that type of finals and win them. Because what's required is an atmosphere, a history. A history is what's required. I know that with so much practice and winning, you can change that history. But they need a lot more championships. Argentina had won it 15 times over. I think a lot more. 3 world championships and 3 more finals. They've never gotten to a world championship. Colombia, and I could care less about the hope that they can have a country or a person. Because the hope is set in things that make no sense. They only have to see how many times have Colombia been a champion. Oh, only one time in Argentina, and I think Brazil wasn't there either. There was no one. Only one time. Are they usually a champion? No, not usually. So then what does that hope gives you that you're going to be a champion? What gives you? Because you're seeing 2-3 guys playing good soccer. Is that what gives you hope of winning the world champion and the world Copa America champion? Yeah, we're going to win them. We're going to beat them. There's not a question about a sensation. No. Here is a question about technique, tactic, strategy, and balls. And Colombia has no balls. Because they have not developed them yet. So then, Colombia made a sin. What do you call when they accuse me? Of arrogancy. I heard them, the players, the commentators, the coaches, the newspaper people said we're going to beat Argentina. We're going to win. You don't have to say anything because you're not absolutely anyone. You have to say how beautiful that we got to the final. What a pleasure. You want to be a champion one day? You should have said this. What a pleasure and what a privilege is to play against the best in the world, which has the best player of the world, the best player in the world. Lionel Messi is his name. He's not called James Rodriguez. That he plays well. There was his best championship. That's all fine. But who the fuck is James Rodriguez? Come back down to reality. You have Borja. Who the fuck is Borja? You have kneeling, praying like this, and in the first play, he was already hitting some Argentinian guy. Where the fuck did your prayer go? You are just a hummingbird, an actual hummingbird next to an eagle, you idiot. So then the entire country and all the Colombians said, we're going to win. You should have said, what a privilege to play against the championship of the world. What a privilege to play against the champion of the Copa America. What a privilege to play against this selection of champions that has titles that we have forgotten to caress someday. It has titles that to spare. Actually, we would like to enjoy with you and that we will give you our best. But when you start to say, we're going to beat them, I mean, go fuck off to the bitch that bore you, because the game is already lost. Argentina could say it, and that all, we don't say it. But we could say, well, we're champions, we defended the title. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? We have James Rodriguez. James what? James who? James? Whom do we have? Whom? That 36-year-old grandpa? No, forget it. Forget it. Get the fuck out of here. That is what humbleness is to say. I come to play against the best. I'm not here to teach. Could Colombia teach Argentina something? Tell me. Could they? You could have seen the whole game. The game was not fair. Not for Colombia to shoot. Colombia didn't play at all. James, he completely contained. James Rodriguez had a wall. He didn't even notice the wall that he had. He couldn't do anything. No plays. You say he hit the post. Well, they're going to hit the post, obviously. Argentina could have scored 3 more goals. But it was played well. But the champion won. Just like that. They played well. But the best won. What did you want to say? Argentina is Argentina. It's Argentina. Has demonstrated it with their titles. Has demonstrated it, absolutely. So then, we don't live based in illusions. We don't live with illusions. Same thing as Mexico. They always have the illusion of beating Argentina. When have Mexico beat Argentina? Never. One time in some Copa America, and it was no good. But that time, that exception, is that a rule? No. The rule is that they always lose. And this time they didn't go against Argentina. They went up against whomever. The thing is that when the people make themselves someone big, who can do that? Brazil. Brazil is an equal. Brazil actually plays well. No matter if they're a disaster or not, it doesn't matter. If they want to play well that day, they'll really mess you up. But they have a hierarchy. They have history, something that Colombia does not have. They've never had it and will never have it. I tell you now, never. Colombia We'll win the next one, the next one, the next one, and the next one. Do you see Colombia? You didn't even get to the World Cups sometimes. How many World Cups have you played? None. And they say, we're going to beat the champion. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. Brazil can. No matter if Brazil's playing with the worst they have, and they brought Chingolita and then whomever, it's Brazil. And the name of Brazil makes you say, well, we're going to play against Brazil. Yeah. The thing is that we might lose. Because it's Brazil. It's a monster. Brazil's a monster. The Cups that Brazil has, they won them. Brazil plays well. They have hierarchy. No matter who plays. I see the verde amarela and say, hey, hold on, that's Brazil. I see the other one, amarela and blue. Oh, that's Colombia. Come on, Colombia. I see a horrible green. Oh, it's Mexico. I see another ridiculous one like that, Guatemala. White with something that crosses them over. I mean, how's Guatemala's jersey? No, it has something crossed like this, like River Plate. Yeah, it is a diagonal line. Do we respect that? No, not that. We don't respect that at all. Uruguay's, the blue, we respect that. We respect the blue. Because they have 2 world championships. Why did Uruguay lose? Because they put 4 stars. They're convinced that they have 4 World Cups. They have 2, actually. But the Uruguayans are good. They're good. How many cups do they have? Copa America? 15 Copa Americas. Uruguay does. So then when I look at Uruguay, well, start to tremble. You see Brazil? Then start to tremble. You see Argentina? Kneel. Okay. That's the way it is. Until you learn that. Once you learn actual humbleness and to really give honor to the one that deserves it, then you'll start to win. Once you win a lot, then we'll say, hey, you see that selection? Wow, a fearful selection right there. Incredible, marvelous selection. But as long as you don't do that, don't ever say we're going to beat the champion. Don't say stupid shit, please. Absolutely, please. It was completely out of line. I teach you to think. Okay, I teach you to think. Okay, where were we here? Somebody still left here? I'm about to leave you either way. So then, what else do I have to say? I am congratulating the Argentinian selection. They played a phenomenal game with Messi injured, without Messi in the field, played phenomenal. If they had penalties, they were going to win in penalties. Argentina would. I mean, tell it to you right now. If they would go another game, Argentina would win again. And if we would play 3 more against Colombia, the 3 more games we would win them. It's as simple as that. Simple as that. Out of 10, we could lose 1. But that 1, maybe it's those things in life that, that it missed. You hit the post, that they were thinking about something else. The players, that's it. But in the percentage, look at the reality always. Something else I wanted to say is that... What else? Oh, nothing else. Boca played this Wednesday, and we played with Pibes. We played with Pibes because innumerable... I mean, with the best player that Boca has, that I've seen with my eyes, aside from Messi and Maradona, is Juan Román Riquelme. Because of his ineffectiveness, he didn't send a paper to the CONMEBOL to register the 4 players. That is unacceptable. There's nothing to say. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. If I were the president of Boca Juniors, aside from the fact that Boca would be something greater, a lot greater than what they are, if I were the president, I would go out and say, out of our ineptness, starting with me, we forgot to send the paper to write down the players that we bought, that we spent more than $12 million, and they cannot play this final against Independiente del Valle, which is a shame to be able to continue in the super, how do you call, what do you call, I forgot the one that we're playing, the South American Cup, We have to do even the impossible because we gave 4 players to the Argentinian selection to enjoy the Olympic Games. We don't have that. We have one that's injured, another one suspended, and the new ones we can't use because we forgot to write them down. Pardon all of us. It'll never again happen. But it's our own ineptness. That's what Raquel knew. And I would applaud him. I would have said the next time I will make sure I will not rest until that will never happen again. I'll applaud that. Not just that Boca does that, but they sold a player who's called Camposano, Colombian. Sold him. And they should have sent the transference, which is called the transfer in football, to his club. And he couldn't play the last games because Boca didn't send the paper. What type of dog shit directors does that club have? I mean, I get so upset. If you see a player and you've sold him, and it's already been paid that same day, you should send the transfer. That is what they did to Boca as well. They couldn't play. Pitbull couldn't play. Who is Medel? He couldn't play because Brazil, one of the clubs of Brazil, I can remember, didn't send him the transfer. And Boca doesn't send the transfer. He has to send. I mean, it's a disaster. You know what? All of you renounce and quit and put people that really want to work. But even though I like Riquelme, and what he should have said is to ask to be forgiven. This shall never again happen. That is what he should have said. This will never happen again. So then we have to play in Ecuador, in those heights. We had to play with players in their debut that were so young, children. What happened? We tied. We didn't win it just as a miracle because Merentiel wasn't there, or else we could have won that perfectly well. So then, when lots of you thought that they were going to really crush us, then Boca tied. This next one, then don't miss out. It'll be the definition of the Bombonera, our house. Fútbol Libre no longer exists. It is done. It's a disaster. They shut it down. There are many others. I'll give you the name for those listening to me. It's called Pelota Libre. Look for Pelota Libre and you'll see many websites there. Look for Tarjeta Roja. You have very different websites. Red Card. You're going to see Red Card. There was another one that I told you about. Do you remember the name? There was another one, but with Pelota Libre already. I'll mention it like that. Pelota Libre. Tarjeta Roja. Look it up in Google and you'll see it. Just write in Google Tarjeta Roja football. Pelota Libre football. Just put that in Google and you'll see many different sites and you can see them for free. If they shut that down, then you have others and others and others. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. So then, this Wednesday, tomorrow we have Boca plays with the new players that we bought because they were not for the Argentinian Championship, but next Wednesday they're also not subscribed, that they were going to last these 2 games. If we can pass this, they can be subscribed, but they have to pass. It'll be a difficult game, tell you the truth. So then those are the news that I have to give you. What else? Invitational text. Pay attention to my corrections, and I will fill you with my spirit. I will give you to know my true thoughts. And we are almost wrapping this up. Wisdom and Discipline, part 26. In some places you can find it, but generally, 2 or 3 that I knew, they have been blocked. You have Pelota Libre. Look for Pelota Libre. Look for, I mean, I've given you other names.
Estoy nombrando cosas acá que quedan perdidas en el video. Pirlo TV.
Pirlo TV is another one. Pelota Libre TV,
Tarjeta Roja TV.
Tarjeta
Todo
Roja
se puede
TV.
buscar en Google
You can look for all
y
those in Google
si
and
le
choose
meten
from
virus y
there.
demás, no,
You have viruses and all the rest, it doesn't
tengan
matter.
un buen antivirus
Have a
y
good antivirus
bloqueadores y demás.
and a blocker and all the rest. Very well.
Lo
Very
bueno
well.
que hoy el
Good thing
público,
is that today,
por más que se
today's
renueve,
public,
son todos
even
argentinos.
though
Em,
they're all
yo no
Argentinian
vi
either
los
way.
comentarios.
I haven't
Si
looked
vi
at the
con esto, no
comments
termino
because I
más y
start with this.
chequeo.
I'm not gonna wrap this up. I want to wrap this up already.
¿Alguien tuvo un desacuerdo lo que enseñé con los padres?
Is somebody in disagreement with
¿No
what I
viste una
taught about the
pregunta
parents?
que
Did you
se
see a
queja?
question that they were
Entonces, ¿cómo
complaining?
Argentina?
Okay, they
¿Por
win
qué
us because there's always a
cómo?
question. What do I do?
¿No viste?
You didn't see anything?
Quiero... Bueno, somos los 220 más o menos regulares. Otra cosa.
No, I think he's saying, of course, Argentina's penalties to Colombia, none. In either case, there could have been a handball that was so clear. Is that what you're referring to? A handball from a Colombian that they didn't repeat it on TV? And Scaloni went insane. Colombian stopped with his hand. It was a penalty. Separated from the body. If that is what he's referring to, that was a clear penalty in favor of Argentina. Penalties that we have committed to them, none. I'm sorry, zero. Put Pelota Libre and look. Put Pelota Libre TV or Pelota Libre Football, and you're going to see 4 or 5 of Pelota Libre. Put Tarjeta Roja. You see like 5. You have Pirlo TV. Just by saying it, sometimes we have problems. I don't want to say it so many times. I'm going to say. Pirlo TV. I'm looking just in Google Pirlo TV, and I have Pirlo TV. I enter, and I already have all the games that I want, even from France, everything. Yeah, I mean anything. You already know. I've already given you the terms. Don't make me repeat, and just write them. Pelota Libre, Pirlo, Tarjeta Roja. In Football Libre, I mean it's off in the garbage can. Libre Football also. Very well. What I want to say also was that I want you to ask me questions, because you're not going to get your doubts out, doubts that others have if you don't ask me. I love to answer. Today, I've taken my whole time to answer these questions, which I love. You got information like never before you would have had. Nothing new for you, because I've always told you to live with your parents, get separated from your parents, pay for the parents, help them, help the parents, economically, there's no problem, but don't bring them home. Don't bring them home. Should you help them? You should help them. And that is what it is to honor them. To honor them is to help them to rest in peace. That is what it is to honor. To dishonor them is to keep them alive in the Father's suffering. That is what it is to dishonor the Father. To honor the Father is to say, hey, old man, I don't no longer. Okay, then that's it. I cannot be any more clear. That's it. That's it. Okay, I've lived the life. I'm waiting for the Messiah. So then, from here on out until the Messiah. From here on out until the Messiah. Just as simple as that. The same thing that happened to Moses. Moses died when he was old? No. Yahweh did that? Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. Absolutely. Absolutely. And those that don't like what I teach, you can look for other YouTubers, other religions that teach you all the contrary, that teach you this. God is the giver of life, and only God can take it. God gives you, and God giveth, and God taketh away. So then we will not do anything. Well, you are. Because if God is not giving you a chemical, and you're giving it to him, if you're giving him oxygen, something that God doesn't give him an oxygen tank, give him an oxygen tank that God doesn't give him. You want to see what God gives him? Then leave him without any remedy, without any help, electronical help, medicine, or oxygen tubes. Just feed him to see how long he lasts. That is what God gives him. The people stay living because they are given things that God never gives them. Chemicals, oxygen, a whole bunch of things. And you say, can that be have no soul? No, I want you to understand that we are keeping them alive. We are keeping them alive. Maybe they themselves don't want to continue living. That's what happens. And if I've taught you that death is a momentary state, provisional, and that they will all live, absolutely everyone will live, not even suicide can take you away from eternal life. Nothing. There's nothing that can take you away. You will have your reward because you were an idiot. That you will have when you get suicided. When you suicide out of time. But when you have already completed your task, is the best thing and the greatest thing you can do. When you can no longer fend for yourself is what I'm referring. If you can still have life to give and still fend for yourself, then fine, nothing else. And nothing else. I'm not going to teach you, but I'm going to read to you this text. Isaiah 14:26. This is the covenant upon all the earth, and this is the hand outstretched. Well, and when I copy it, and the hand is stretched out against all the nations. For Yahweh of hosts has determined it. And who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out. And who shall turn it back? And that's where it comes from. Who can stop Yahweh? Who can turn back Yahweh? And today, actually, I wanted to advance in the prophecy that we have not read yet, but we'll read it next Shabbat. We're enjoying our last days of 54 years. We're going to move on to 55, and today was my sister's birthday, Vivian. I don't think she's listening, but if she's listening, because she listens sometimes, according to her, she listens to me now and then. Very happy birthday. You're 4 years older. So then if I'm going to be 55, 59, okay. And went to visit in Argentina. She let me know she's in Argentina. She went to go visit my mom. Says that she is not doing well. And she is in a place where they take care of the elderly. Exactly what I preach. I practice in a very nice place, where they take care of the old men, the old people that need it. But when you're suffering and you depend on all types of things, it is better to rest. Actually, it is better to rest. And that is the best thing that could happen. It would make me feel very well and tranquil. Just to later, for the glory to come to all human beings. Very well. I hope that you have understood everything that I've taught today. It is very important to understand it clearly. If we are one, if we are united, if we are a very same way of being, way of thinking, you could think, for what reason? I'm going to ask you another question later. I don't even want to read the questions. I'm not going to say anything. Let us go to Psalms 78:2. Psalm 78:2 says, "Hear my people, my teaching. Pay heed to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in parables and evoke the mysteries of the past." The very same thing of what I taught about the parents, that the children should be separated, no longer belong to the parents, and they don't bring the parents to their home. The same thing is about the religions. Once we separated ourselves, that we sucked from that religion, we learned from that religion, it made us grow, that religion did, it made us adult people, that religion. But when we separate ourselves because we abandon, because we found something superior, we no longer bring that religion to live, to the new religion. No, Absolutely not. We don't bring the customs from that religion to our new religion. No. We thank them that it was our teacher, our mother, our father, but we don't bring it no longer to live with us. It's the same thing. It's always in a smaller or larger scale, the same thing. The destiny is written. The end is inevitable. Let us wrap up with a word of prayer. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this marvelous experience and also terrible that you give us since we're born in this world until we leave. Actually, there are things that we don't understand, things that we protest every day, and things that we understand very well. And we know that the life that you give us is simply a test. Is simply a test, or also an education, because your life is eternal, and the life you gave to human beings is eternal. And actually, we wish that this whole pain that humanity has suffered during 6,000 years, the pain that those who are alive suffer, who are growing old, who suffer abuses, and all kinds of things. And the things which you designed and have begotten and have done for this whole wickedness to come upon every inhabitant of the earth to end already. That your curses be reverted and turned into blessings, and that all things that you have cursed change naturally and by the command of the Mashiach. All this we want to see, and we want to see it soon. Why should we wait or take too long? We actually want for this to be fulfilled, and to be fulfilled in at all possible in what we desire this year. We thank you for all this. Thank you for having placed us in your creation, having created us, having made us during this time, and having made us to understand these marvelous things. In your precious name, Yahweh Sabaoth, the only Elohim that exists, the only Elohim that there is. Alleluia. Semper Fi. Let the laurels be eternal, that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory, let us live. Just a little point. Good thing there's no Colombian listening, but how horrible and disastrous, completely terrible is the Colombian hymn. Wow. They ended up saying, and the one that was hanging in the cross, Leslie and I looked at each other, what did he say? The one hanging in the cross? Is that what that horrible national Colombian hymn says? Oh, with that, they should lose now, just for that. To top it off, it was sung by the most filthy artist. She's ugly with a horrible, horrible voice. What's her name? What's her name? You like her. Yeah, you do like her. What's her name? Kenny G? What's her name? Kenny G? Is it Kenny G? Carol G? Carol G. Wow. She doesn't even know how to sing, that stupid bitch. She doesn't have auto-tuner. She has a horrible voice to top it off. Horrible hymn. You didn't understand shit. I wanted to say, please crush these sons of bitches, please. Crush them. Just crush them. The other thing. Shakira sang very well. I was going to say, the Argentinian anthem is enough for you to stand up and for you to start to sing it. I hope you sang it, that you have, and sung the lyrics of how many times that are repeated. Oh, hear gates the holy yell, liberty, liberty, liberty. The one hanging in the cross. How is it going to end up like that? The one hanging on the cross? Hear, O mortals, the sacred yell, liberty, liberty, liberty. Hear the the sound of broken chains. The sound. Yeah, the sound of broken chains. See, enthroned, not the. Be enthroned. The noble equality. Already in its throne, so worthy, but of course, they opened the provinces, the united provinces of the south, and the free of the world respond unto the great Argentinian people. Salute. We salute. Wow, marvelous. I mean, you should know it, at least when you sing it. And then the things that you already know is precisely, let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory, let us live. Or let us swear with glory to die. That goes even in every game of soccer. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Footballistically speaking, the best players in the world in history. Maradona, Pelé. It's not just anything, right? 3 world championships. It's not anything to scoff at. 15 Copa Americas, not 16. And of all types of cups, I mean, don't even mention. And when we talk about Boca, I mean, don't even mention it. River also has their own, of course, because they're Argentinian. So then, be the Lord's be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Colombia, on the other hand, they can sing, let the Lord's be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Or it says, hey, what laurels did you achieve? Just sing something else. Says, let's sing unto the one that is hanging on the cross, they sing. To end up fucking it up in the ridicule, Shakira, Colombian, sings in the halftime. What? I mean, it is absolutely... Take that stupid idiot out of there. Tell her to fuck off out of there. What the fuck is Shakira doing there? We want to watch soccer. Not that idiot. Not that idiot. And aside from that, she's Colombian. They should put something that's neutral. Because the Colombians would not have wanted for an Argentina to sing a tango. They would not have liked that. They would not have liked that. Hey. There is the air is pushing it. There had to be someone neutral. No. It was a Colombian. It was a Colombian. What? I mean, take that, you stupid idiot. It makes a lot. Takes more time. Disaster. This world is a disaster in every sense. In every sense, disaster. It's nauseous. It's nauseous. But remember something. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory. Let us live, or let us swear with glory to die. And that is how you play a game of football and a religion is lived. What laurels do we have? I have to mention them a whole lot, one after another, of glory. Glory of Elohim is to conceal the word. Glory of the king is to search out the word. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory, for having discovered the word forever, or swear with glory to die. Hallelujah to every one of you. A great big applause for Argentina, and an applause for the champions of the world, and an applause for the Argentine bride of Yahweh. And this for every one of you. Let the laurels be eternal, that you, the eternal truth, has known how to achieve, crowned with glory, the sons of Elohim, let us live. Or let us swear, with glory, live eternally. I'm not going to say something else. Congratulations, champion. Hallelujah to every one of you.